going to be great. I just, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
All right, awesome, awesome. All right, hello everyone. We are live. Happy today to you. Glad to be on here having conversations again to help you live long and well. And I'm delighted. I know I say I'm excited all the time, but I'm excited talking about joy, bringing the joy back into parenting. Oh, I should change the thing to make it look so it's this Joy. It looks like Yoj. But anyway, we're gonna have the conversation nonetheless. And I'm excited to have on as our guest. She's a repeat guest, but it's been years since we actually had her back on. I remember, I think it was 2021. I had you on, and I'm glad to have you on now, talking about bringing the joy back into parenting.
Yes.
Kieran Palmer, she is amazing, a phenomenal human being. She's CEO, director, the boss of Pure Joy Pediatrics. Doc, thank you so much for coming. I'm glad to have you here.
Oh my goodness, Dr. Tolu, thank you so much for having me on. I have really been looking forward to this conversation, and I absolutely love your shirt. I'm like, where can I get me one of those? Because I think I would wear that to work every single day.
I'm
Um,
with you. I'm
Thank
with
you for having me on. I really, really am glad to be here and to be able to answer questions if anybody out there has questions. But yes, I am Dr. Karen Palmer. I am the CEO, founder, and physician here at Pure Joy Pediatrics. I'm a general pediatrician. I have the privilege of getting to work with moms and dads and lots of families every single day. And I really do love what I'm doing. In fact, I had to race to get here because I literally had a full day of patients that do bring me a lot of joy. But one of the reasons why I'm here is really to answer those questions of like, how do we bring the joy back into parenting? Because literally at this point, I've seen like tens of thousands of families and talked with parents on a daily basis about like what their experience is like as parents. And I think most of us come into this really, wanting to be parents, really excited about doing it. And then somewhere we get into that messy middle. Maybe we're not sleeping well. Maybe we've forgotten to take care of ourselves. Maybe we've kind of gotten caught up in like what we think parenting should be. And then at some point, like you kind of feel distance from that initial joy that you had when you discovered you were going to become a parent. However it is that you come into parenting, whether you're an adoptive parent or a biological parent. And so I really was looking forward to coming on today and talking to that because school's back in session, and sometimes that's where we're losing that sense of joy that we have of being a parent because we're kind of back into the routine, or back into carpool, or back into making lunches, or racing home to be with our kids. And so I think so many times in life, our schedules or our expectations for ourselves, or even our children's schedules, kind of drive us into forgetting the whole reason why we're here. And I think as the parents, sometimes we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to be joyful about every single little thing. And I mean, let's face it, that's not always the case. Um, there's a Chinese proverb that I really kind of resounds for me, which is like, if you want to know the path ahead, ask those who are coming back. And so, I have the privilege of working with so many different families. And, I think my families always think I'm there to teach them, but I actually learn a lot from them too, because I'm the mother of a teenager, but there are some parents out there whose teenagers are older. In the past, when my baby was a toddler, I was learning from moms who have grade schoolers. And I
you.
also get to like interview all these families. And so I actually have a lot of experience now talking to lots of families, and love to share that with families whose children are younger, who haven't been through it yet.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's I think it's important to share with other people what our experiences have been and how to get through that. Um, yeah,
Okay.
so thank
I
you.
love I love that. I love that. And she's an amazing pediatrician. I love watching your Instagram posts and your experiences as you share there as well. Now, you highlighted this well, in your opening statement, on parenting and the challenges, but it's often described as both the hardest and the most rewarding job. So when you say bring joy back into parenting, what do you mean, Doc? What do
Well, I think what comes to mind are all of the families that are at different points in their struggles, right? So I think about parents of 3-year-olds that are trying to get their kids into preschool, and then they're told, yes, but they can only come if they're potty trained. And now all of a sudden, like you were so excited because your 3-year-old is going to leave the house and they're going to go to preschool and be with other 3-year-olds, which is really age appropriate. But now we've got this challenge, and if anybody out there has had a 3-year-old, I always think of 3-year-olds as being kind of like having a roommate, in that, you can't make your 3-year-old do anything that they don't want to do. And so if you, and it's one of those situations where if you put a lot of pressure on your 3-year-old, it really is going to backfire. So even before, like, we talk about getting a 3-year-old to preschool and getting them toilet trained, like, I just tell parents, like, with 3-year-olds, like, it's actually one of my favorite age groups to decode, because you have to approach them in a way that they think it's all their idea. And yet, parents, some of them are having to go back to work. And so getting their child into preschool is a must, because, somebody's got to take care of the child while the parent's at work. And so, so not only are you, like, worried about going back to work, but now you're trying to figure out, like, how to get your 3-year-old to do something that they have absolutely no desire to do. Or it could be that you have, like, an even younger child, or a 4-month-old that isn't sleeping. And we all know, well, maybe we don't all know, but when you don't get a good night's sleep over an extended period of time, like, you start to feel anxious, or you can feel just really tired and having a hard time connecting or bonding with your baby. And so that may make it really hard to reconnect with the joy that you felt before you lost all that sleep, or the joy that you had when you knew that you were expecting. And now, like, it's been 4 months and you haven't had a good night's sleep. And so I think it's so important to recognize the need to feel that joy again, so that you can start to do things to remedy that. Or it could also be like a parent of an older child. It was funny. I was watching a TV show with Drew Barrymore on it, and she says, "I'm perimenopausal. I'm taking care of an aging parent, and my teenager is also hormonal." And that may be also a setup where, I mean, it's kind of what's happening to me. My teenager wants to stay up later, which cuts into my sleep at a time when I actually need more sleep. And I have aging parents that I'm taking care of, in addition to a toddler, or to a teenager who sometimes acts like a toddler, and also trying to get enough sleep for myself. And that may be something that that really affects your sense of joy as you go forth with every day, right? Because you're worried about your parents, you're worried about your child, and you need to be taking care of yourself at a time of transition in your own life. And so the question is, well, how do we reconnect with that joy as parents, right? And so it's interesting, because I think when your soul is searching for something, like, it's looking to find it. And sometimes you create the solutions as you go along. And what I mean by this is, like, I am that person. I'm the mother of a teenager. I'm a physician. I get to take care of patients all day and help solve their problems. But I also have aging parents, and have been through some really hard things lately. Through a really hard season, and I knew it was coming. And I wasn't quite sure, like, how it was going to affect me, and if I was going to get sideswiped, or if I was going to be able to kind of, like, move forward in a joyful manner, because I can't show up to work and work with kids and not be happy. Yes. But at the same time, it's like, when you know a hard season is coming, like, what do you do? And so what I did was I talked with my friends, and I put together what I call the Joy Reset Summit. And I asked this question, like, how do we reconnect with our joy in these different seasons of our lives? And it was, I think, because I knew I was going into a season where it was going to be very hard. And I was so blessed by the answers that I got from these friends of mine who happen to be physicians, who happen to be mothers. Many of them are coaches. And in talking with them, I was thinking of all the parents that I worked with, trying to help serve them. And in doing that, I actually came away with all these strategies and tips from all of the women physicians and coaches that I talked to. And so as I went through this very hard time in my life, it was just over the last 8 to 10 weeks, I leaned into the wisdom of these women physicians. And actually, it ended up really helping me through one of the hardest times that I've been through, which was losing a parent, which I don't wish on anybody. But as our parents age, like, it's something that eventually will happen. And so I'll say that what I learned, I applied and it helped me through this time. And it actually came to me as we were starting school, because I know in Texas, I think you guys start school a little earlier than we do.
Yeah.
And yeah. Um, and on the first day of school, I got up and I just thought, I have so many things to do to get my son to school. And I was really just going to kind of like waive doing anything that I normally do for myself in the morning. And one of the things I've been doing now pretty consistently for the last year and a half is I get up and I do at least a short workout. And I just thought, there's so much to do. I have to be there for him for the school bus and make his lunch. I'm not going to do my workout this morning. And then I stopped myself and I had this very cognizant thought of like, well, actually, what is it that you need to do right now? And this was a piece of wisdom that I got from Wendy Schofer, who is a pediatrician and a family coach. She has her platform is Family in Focus. She has her website, and she taught me that to stop. Like when you have all this craziness going on of all the things that need to be done, and you want to be a great mom, and you want to, see your child off for school or whatever task it is that you feel like you need to accomplish for your child, and it feels overwhelming, just ask yourself, what is it that you need to do for yourself right now? And I was like, I need to go work out and take care of myself before I can pour into the families I take care of every day, and before I can pour into my son and make sure that he gets a good solid send off for school. And
So,
I did.
I'm going to interject real quick. You've mentioned two powerful things that I wanted to highlight. You talked about support systems as a big deal, and then self care, how
Yes,
that's a non negotiable because
yes,
you are needed for the systems that are tied to you to work.
yes,
All right,
yes.
carry on.
Yes, no, thank you for highlighting that, because that is exactly what happened, is in connecting with friends and learning from them, and also realizing the need for self-care and developing a system way before the hard season, right? Way before school started, and then realizing the need to actually respond to that when things got really crazy. And when I did that, nothing terrible happened. He got off to school just fine, even though I took a minute to take care of myself. And I kind of think of it like, we parents are like a table, and everything rests on us, right? Like running a household, in some cases running a business or having like a full-time job, and also taking care of our families, nurturing our families, our partners, our spouses, our parents. They're all resting on this table, and we're kind of like the legs of the table. And if I don't take time to work out, if I don't take time to get good sleep, if I don't connect with friends, if I don't actually even remember to feed myself, I, as the legs of the table, get a little wobbly. And then there's all this weight on the table, and the table will crumble. And if the table crumbles, everything falls off of it.
Mm.
So really, self care is a way of taking care of your family, because if you fall apart, everything falls apart.
And for someone listening who's like, oh, you don't know my schedule, I'm telling you, and self care can mean different things to different people.
Yeah.
Dr. Prayers talked about exercising. For me, it's hanging out in God's presence in a place of prayer, worship, meditating, and being poured into. Do not
Yes.
negotiate your self care because that is a lifeline. Because of the table would be the legs, like Dr. Carey says, I don't want the legs to fall off. We don't want the legs to fall off. But, Doc, I was going to ask you this next question.
Yes.
Parenting comes with guilt, comparison, and pressure.
Mhm.
Are there mindset reframe to help parents, like, I mean, yeah, you want to be more and do more for your kids. I think every parent, every good parent wants to be more, do more, even do more than what their parents did for them. But how do you reframe like what mindset hacks do you have for parents who are like, well, that other person seems to be able to take their child to every sporting game, looks
Mhm.
well rested, looks toned, or the children look happy, and my kid, the socks are different colors. They're happy, they love me, no, I love them, but their socks are different colors, and I feel bad. I feel guilty that I'm not being all the things to my kid. Any
Yeah.
any thoughts on that, Doc?
Yeah, I think that parental guilt or mom guilt is it's a real thing. But I think it's because of expectations we put on ourselves. Like we have some kind of a standard that that we think that we are measuring ourselves by. And I think the wisest advice that I could give is just to kind of disregard and maybe not pay attention to what everybody else is doing, and realizing that everybody comes to parenting with kind of a different paradigm, and every family has like a different set of resources that they're working with. And I think good parenting essentially boils down to um, being conscientious about how you're doing it, and being intentional. So it's a great example actually. So we have soccer practice every day, and today it was supposed to be at 7, and right now it's a quarter to 5, and they switched it at the last minute. It's at 5:30, and it's not happening on time. And I would say that the way that I manage these expectations or this guilt is I just let it go. Stuff's going to happen. In this case, like I'm doing an interview, and it's kind of a budding soccer practice, and I'm just going to let it go. I messaged them and said, if you make changes at the last minute, we're not going to be there on time, and I'm just going to let it go, and it's going to have to be good enough. So I think I don't think it's about like lowering your standards. It's just understanding that there's a lot of different things that we're juggling, and letting go when it isn't going to be perfect, because there is no perfect parent out there. And I can tell you because I meet lots of them. And I do think that when we hold ourselves to a standard that, of perfection that really isn't achievable, that we actually create a lot more angst and anxiety in ourselves. And that actually comes out in our parenting. I see this actually from newborns all the way up to like older teenagers. When parents are nervous about something, the kids are like this little antenna, and they pick up on it, and then their emotional response comes out in behaviors. And then you have like parents are nervous, the kids are nervous, and it doesn't actually amount to any great solutions. It just amounts to a lot of people being nervous together, and sometimes even like lashing out or even like arguing, because parents and kids are nervous together. So I think letting go of your own expectations of how things should be, understanding, that your resources are different from other people's, and just really trying to be intentional and spending the time with your child that you can, even if you can't be there for 100% of whatever the activity is. Because yeah,
I love what you said. Let the intentionality, let the intention drive your decisions. For instance, if I see another parent, like, they have, like, I'd be curious to know how parents in my time, not in my time, parents in my season ahead of me, how they coped, what they did. Or, I'd actually, because I want my kids to do well. So it's not a comparison. So it's more, what are you doing? And then they tell me tips like, oh, we do this, we do. I'm like, oh, okay. Can I join your carpool? Can I like it's a curiosity that doesn't
yeah,
make you, shoot your own foot, but you're looking because your intention is to improve your quality of life and that of your child. And so you're asking
yeah.
questions that will improve it. And that's where the support systems come from, right? And then
Mhm.
also making room for life. Life
Yeah,
happens. And your intention is still good. Let that intention drive the creativity, not the panic that you're a bad parent. And I want
right.
us to emphasize this because it's a joy stealer, it's an energy stealer. It actually takes more than it needs to from us because
Oh,
we're
yeah,
focused on what we're not amplifying what we are
right.
as
That is,
parents.
yeah, that is so wise. And the thing, not only is it a joy stealer, but the way that it plays out with our kids is like it robs them of it too. Because now we're upset with each other, or now we're nervous together, and that just takes away the energy that would otherwise be the momentum to solve the problem or to enjoy the time together. I think everybody comes into this, wanting to be the best parent ever, and I really do think that like the definition of being a great parent is, like you said, is being intentional, being curious, and asking the questions, rather than trying to, hit the benchmarks, because there aren't any other benchmarks except the ones that we kind of create for ourselves. So I just let it go, and I do the best that I can, and realize that the intention is there to get you to soccer practice on time, but sometimes life happens. Things change at the last minute, and that's, I think, one of the things we learn as parents very early on is to be flexible with what was supposed to happen. And that, I think, that starts, it's interesting because when I meet parents of newborns and they tell me how the birth story went and how it was different than they thought, I'm like, that's actually like the first lesson in parenting, is like, it just never goes the way we think it's going to go. Or we have our ideas, and then the babies, they come when they want to come, they show up how they want to show up, they show up at the time they want to show up. Right. And then, we thought they're gonna wear the outfits, and then they outgrew them, or they spit up on them, and the picture didn't happen in the outfit. So, I mean, it's the lesson that carries on throughout our parenting journey. So
I can resonate with that. Like, that is not what we planned. This is not how we planned. It was
this
supposed
is not what I planned at all. So, yeah.
All right. Now, Doc, my next question: what are three? You could add more bonuses, but three simple joy boosting practices parents can weave into their daily routine, Doc, without adding more stress.
Oh my goodness, there's so many things you can do. I think the first, like, especially if you're talking about parents that have really packed schedules, is first get a good night's sleep. Because without getting a good night's sleep, it's really hard to have a clear mind to even evaluate what you have in front of you, right? So that would be the first thing, just to kind of get your head on straight, to get your thoughts clear, get a good night's sleep. And then there are holes in our schedules, even though they're packed back to back, where you can do something really simple, even for just like 5 minutes. Because for some people, waking up earlier is not something that's going to happen, but guaranteed, like, there's a car line that you're sitting in, there's a sports practice that you're at, there's a baby's napping, your 3-year-old's at preschool. There is like 5 minutes where literally you can just do something for yourself. And it might be something as simple as praying, meditating, listening to your favorite song, just not doing anything, and just relaxing. That 5 minutes of self-care can make all the difference in whether or not the next thing you do, you fall apart and feel overwhelmed, or feel re-energized. And so, for me, it might even just be, I actually posted this on Instagram. I had some yard work to do, and I went and cut down, like in 5 to 10 minutes, cut down all this lavender that needed to be cut. And the smell of lavender when you cut it, it's in the air. And that's a type of self-care too, like doing something that means something to you. And so that would maybe be the second thing that I would say is, like, one, get a good night's sleep. Two, find 5 minutes in the day where you can do something that is meaningful to you. And three, I would say reconnect with people in your lives. Because I think sometimes when we're going through the different stages in our child's lives, it can be a little bit isolating. If you have just had a baby and you're postpartum and you're up at 2 a.m, it feels like you're the only one up at 2 a.m. But that's a really good situation to start looking for friends who have had babies, and maybe their baby's 4 months old or 6 months old, and connecting with them. There are even organizations that'll do this. I know in our city, there's a group called New Mom School, and it's actually an organization that helps connect moms with babies of same ages. And so it helps to connect with people who have done what you've done, or where you're at, so that you can sort of get a heads up of like what's coming, that a good night's sleep is coming a month or two from now, and also like learning how they manage. And I think also just like being with other people who have experienced what you've experienced. In this hard season for us, like, we lost my dad, and connecting with the rest of my family over that loss has helped keep our family even tighter. And it also helps to share in the grief. So whatever hard season you're going through in your life, look to reconnect with your friends and your family, or somebody who's gone through it, because they'll get you. They get it. They can help.
it also helps you not think the season is on ending, because there's something about being in a season that seems like, oh my gosh, is this what the rest of my life is? And we forget
Yeah.
that there's a season after it. Uh,
Yes.
with grief is painful, but so with support, that you know that I can thrive even in spite of his absence, but I know that I can thrive.
Mhm.
I've seen other people
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
Celebrate his legacy that way. Wow.
Yeah.
Doc,
For those of you,
I still got questions. We got 5 minutes. Okay. Play. I got two more questions. Play
okay.
is often seen as just for kids. And we
Oh,
know that kids connect with play. But how can parents use play as a tool to connect, de-stress, and rediscover joy, Doc?
oh my goodness. Well, there's so many different ways to play. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. But as you said this, I was thinking about my practice. We have a place that's like a little diner, and it's such a delight because the kids know exactly what to do. They go to it, they start making food, and I walk into the room and they're like serving their parents coffee or a plate of food. And yes, play is not just a distraction. Play is the way children learn. It's also a way that they can communicate. It's also like how they learn skills. But it doesn't have to be anything fancy like that. I think a lot of my patients will go to the park and their parents just kind of let them loose. And it's great for them because it allows them an opportunity to socialize with other kids their age, in addition to actually like physically climbing a play structure is also physical exercise. But I think as a parent, like even I'm not the parent that's up there on the play structure, by the way. I'm watching, but even that, like that can be a source of joy. And that was actually one of the things I learned in this digital summit that I put together is looking for those glimmers, right? Like, you know, sometimes it's hard just to get out of the house because we can't buy the shoes and the socks, or maybe the 3-year-olds decided they don't want to go to the park. And then you get them to the park, and the glimmer is watching them like learn something new or ask you to come and push them on the swing. There is nothing like more mindful than being with your child, pushing them on a swing or helping them up the stairs, right? Like you're focused on what they're doing right in that moment. And that actually is a moment of joy to connect you with your child. And it also pulls you out of like all the craziness that could be happening during the day to just focus on that. And so, yeah, I would say put the phone down, put it in your pocket, and live that moment with your child, because that will bring you joy if you have the eyes to see it and the ears to hear it, right? So no, it's not a waste of time to let your kids play. Or it could even just be at home where like you're doing somersaults together, or they're doing a somersault over your legs, or you can show them how you put together Legos, or ask them what they're doing when they're drawing something, like, who is this? Like, what is this? So it's an opportunity, really a very concrete opportunity to connect with your kids and experience joy with them at the same time.
Yeah, it's a win-win. Win for the child, win for you. Get
Yeah,
like play with mud a little bit. That's okay. Your hands will be there. You can watch it. Like
yeah,
engage with them and create a win for yourself in that
yeah.
experience too. And the child will remember you for it. My goodness,
Oh,
I love
yeah.
it.
Yeah. Or
Yeah,
it might not even be a toy. It could be that you're making dinner, or you're letting them mix in the bowl and they think they're playing, right? Or pouring out the flour and it's not quite making it into the bowl. They're playing. You can experience joy in that moment. Take a deep breath and let them help. And it's not even a toy, it's just flour.
yes, I love it. And like Dr. Mitra says, thank you, Dr. Mitra, for joining. She said, be present.
Be present.
Be
Yes.
present. Be present. So last question, Doc, before we wrap up. For parents listening who feel exhausted right now,
Mm,
and they can only take away one message from you today, only one, because they're tired, about joyful parenting, what
yes.
one lesson would it be?
Oh, I would say the first thing is just breathe. Just breathe, like take a big breath and just relax and pull out of that fight or flight response into just like resting and enjoying the moment. It doesn't cost you any money. It doesn't cost you any extra time. And if your child is there with you, you can practice this with them. Just take a big breath and then get yourself a good night's sleep. And if you can't figure out how to do that on your own, talk to your doctor or talk to your child's doctor, because this is something I think parents are always just very, I think they don't know the breadth of what we do. And
Mm,
Dr. Tolu, maybe people don't know that they can come to you to talk to you about sleep too, whether it's their kids not sleeping or they're not sleeping. That would be the first thing is like one, take a big breath, and two, get a good night's sleep. Things are usually much clearer in the morning when you've
Yes. Yes, yes. Thank you so, so much, Doc. This was good. It's 7 o'clock. Time flew. Doc, people are watching. They like you. They want to come see you. They want to come to your practice. They're in your neck of the woods.
oh,
Doc,
yeah.
where can people find you? Dr. Karen?
Well, I'm trying to be very discoverable. I'm here in Portland, Oregon. The name of my practice is Pure Joy Pediatrics. I practice holistic pediatrics, so I'm a medical doctor, and I also integrate functional medicine into what I do. And I'm on the internet, www.purejoypediatrics.com, and I'm on Instagram under Karen Palmer MD, and also on Facebook under the same name. And I am just so delighted that I got to chat with you today, Dr. Tolu. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. And for those of you who are curious about the information she gave, it's in the comment section. I'm putting the website under the show notes right now as we speak. Portland, Oregon, beautiful place. It is far from here, but it's beautiful. But you can send people there. Thank you, Ms. Porter, for joining. For those of you who are watching live, if you could just give her, drop some comments, show her some love in the comments. She took her time. She missed her son's no guilt, no mom guilt.
No
Son
mom guilt.
practice to be here with us to share from her wealth of knowledge. And I'm putting her information to Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. But Doc, you mentioned something about her summit. Is that accessible to people? Like how? Like
Oh
what's?
yeah. So I like Instagram. I'm on Instagram a lot. So in my link tree, there is actually a summit called the Joy Reset Summit, which actually is a collection of coaching sessions for you, busy parents out there that are trying to figure out what strategies you can use to slow down and reconnect with your joy so that you can bring the best of what you have to offer to your family, to your kids, to the people who love you. It's called the Joy Reset Summit, and it's kind of a bundled package with a book by a friend of mine, Dr. Tiffany Moon, called Joy Prescriptions, and it's all meant to help serve parents and help them reconnect with their source of joy. So you don't have to search the internet and look it up on Google. We did it for you. We brought it
Awesome.
to you. Thank you,
Awesome.
Dr. Tolu.
Thank you so much for coming. This was good. This was very good. There is hope. There is joy, and we can bring it back into parenting because all
Yeah.
the seasons can season.
Yeah.
They're a gift. They're a gift. The children are a
Yes.
gift. They get
Everybody needs more joy in their lives.
yes. Doc, thank you so much for coming. We're wrapping up now. For those of you who are watching, as always, caring is sharing. Please forward this to parents you know, those who mother, those who father, those who could use a little pep or words of encouragement in
Yeah.
this season. Remember, the
Yeah.
seasons don't always last, and there are resources to help you find and hold on to your joy throughout. As always, if you or anyone you know is looking for an awesome, a thorough, and compassionate family physician to have comments or conversations like this live to help you live long and well, I am
Oh,
she.
yes, Dr. Tolu. Don't forget, go see your doctor.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. This was good.